Alright, so this is the tutorial to make an endless runner game, and this is the style where it's vertical, like you're running this way and objects are coming at you from side to side, and the center. So first thing you need to do is just to file new, and you would choose either Air for Android or Air for iOS. I would choose Android just because that's what I'm going to be using. You can change it afterwards, it's not a huge deal, but just, be aware that you want to use these two here, okay? And then we'll hit OK, and you'll have new. Now, rather than going through and making the graphics, because that would make this like hours long, I'm just going to show you the graphics that you should have, and then once you know that, you can kind of go from there. So this video is just going to cover the graphics, and the next one I'll start covering the code, okay? So, in this one, you'll see I have two layers, basically. I have a player layer here, which also has apparently the cars on the top here. And I also have this background layer. So I'll show you the background layer first. Let me unlock it. And so if I open this up, the background symbol here that I have, okay, inside of this background symbol I had made, I have the ground and sky, which is literally just this picture. All right, come on. I'll just click on it this way. It's just this picture, so it's just one image of a background, and you can see I just have a vanishing point, that sort of thing. So nothing too fancy there. And then the other thing I have is a background element layer, okay? In this case, I just have trees, but if you want to have like rocks or signs or anything that's basically, it's going to give the illusion of movement by moving these down the sides here. Anything that's like that, you're going to need to put in there, okay? So I basically have just these two things. I have trees on the left and trees on the right, okay? I'll show you the one on the left first. So if I open, I'll just open this symbol up, okay? And you see it says tree right anim. And basically I just have this here, which is just a tree. I just made this picture here. Where are you, tree? It's just a tree, whatever, movie clip, okay? So I use that, I plop that in here, and then I just animated it. Let me see, will this work in here? Let me see. No, it just does that. Alright, I'll do it this way. I'm just going to minus this up here. Okay. I just animated it basically sliding, going down. Okay, like this. Nothing too fancy. One thing with that I did is, in order to give the illusion of like perspective, so notice it starts slow and then it gets faster as you get closer, because that's the way it would appear. I put a key here and I put a key here, so I just have these two keys, okay? So I just scaled it and moved it down so it slides across. The other thing I did was, if you double click on this this thing here, you can see I have these keys here, or I have these things here. What I did is I went to the location here, and notice it has this nice arc. I clicked on down here, which I don't know what yours will say. I'll say no ease or something. And then I went to simple, and I chose fast, and then I just took easing this way. So watch if I go easing the other direction. It'll actually start out really fast, and then it'll get slow. So let's play that. You'll see. It's going to go, it's only showing the last bit here, but it's going to go really fast to start with, and then, can't see it. And then it's going to get, you can see how the little dots get smaller. It's going to get slower as it goes, okay? The scaling I didn't do it to, so the scaling's still doing what it was. Right now I only have the location, the positional data selected. So I just got to make sure that I choose fast, and I take easing and go the other way. So it starts off slow, and then speeds up. I did that to location, and I also did it to scale, so that, come on, man, there we go. So that it starts off scaling up very slowly, and then it goes very fast, okay? Now, depending on how you want to go, you might not use fast. You could try using medium. You'll see that the curves are just a little bit different, okay? So you just make sure that you do that, all right? And make sure it's in the negative so that it's starting slow and getting bigger. That's how I did that, okay? So there's nothing too fancy there. Now, for the other side, this one, what I did is, so that one's only going to go 1, 2, it's just going to be like that. I actually, just to make it look like there's more trees, I just duplicated that layer. And then if you grab the whole layer, you can actually just slide them. See how I just moved that? And I just offset them so that they go, that they're overlapping and there's multiple ones and stuff, okay? So that's all that is. There's nothing too fancy there either. So you can see I had some go whatever, and then I have like this one end, and then I started another one, and that's basically it. There's nothing too new about that. Although I think I have a couple extra in here I don't need, but whatever. So that's basically how that was made. All right, so those like that's the background. Now you could do a lot more. I would expect you to do more because I got a bunch of these to do, so I didn't go crazy with it. But that's how those work. I also have these up here. Okay, so if I hit, I'll show you actually. If I hit Control Enter or Command Enter if it's on yours, you'll see that I have him running. I have the background. I have these things going on. But see those cars come? All right. Now notice the trees are looping, right? Because what will happen is once it reaches the end of let's do this one. Once it reaches the end of this, it's just going to start from the beginning again. Okay. So notice that that's happening. Now, back this up. These, you'll notice only went once. Now, they don't have a layer over here because I have one for background and all this stuff, and then I have one for player. Because these, we're going to delete these. I'm just having them on here so you can see them, and also so I can see what their positional data is when I go to code this. We're going to randomly instance these or generate them. We're going to randomly put them in here so that they come at different times and what have you. But so eventually these don't need a layer because we're going to delete them off of here. But for now, just so I know where they need to be placed, that's why they're like that. But I made 3 flavors of obstacles. Okay, in this case I used cars, so you can use whatever you want. So I have a left one, a middle one, and a right one. Okay, so I'll just open up the left one, and I basically did the same thing I did with the trees. If you look, there's just a it just scales, and I have it positioned, and I did the same thing for the right one and the center one. So you can see the center one does the same thing, right? Goes down center, and this one goes down the right side, right? And each one of these are named, like this one's called center obstacle underscore MC, that one's left obstacle MC, and right obstacle MC. Now there's one other thing that's different about this compared to the trees. If you look, I have an actions layer, and the reason why is that it plays the animation, and then you see the last thing I have this keyframe. I have an empty frame, so basically the car is going to go down here and then disappear. Okay, I animate it here, and then I just went to the one frame over and I hit F7 I think, and that's like to create an empty keyframe. And then I also created an actions layer, and I put an action in here, and the action is just window, it's just stop. I just put a stop on that. Okay, so you would just select it, hit the little code snippets, and you would just go to where are you, timeline navigation, just double click on stop at this frame. Okay, now the reason why I did that is I'm gonna generate these, and every time I generate them, I want it to play once, but I want it to keep looping. I want to be able to tell it when to start a new one. So it's going to go like this, and then that one's going to stop, and that's the end of that. That one's not going to play anymore. So you need to have it stop here like this. Okay, so wherever your obstacles are, they're going down, just make sure you stop them. That they play once, and then that's it. And then you'll tell it when to play another one. Otherwise, it'll happen as you generate them. You'll just have more and more cars, because this one will just keep looping this over and over again like the trees do. And it will be the same thing, and it'll be redundant, so it's not very exciting. Okay. So I did that for each one of them. Each one of them has basically the same animation, just one going down the left, one going down the center, and one going down to the right. And then at the end, I just do a stop with them not there. Okay? All right. Now, the player is a little bit different. So he is on a layer, or she. Well, it's he because it's me. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay. What I did is I created 3 animations, and I put them on each a different frame. So on frame 1, I have this animation. You can see the symbol, it says up on the top here, cone center and run MC. And then on this one, let me select him, there we go. It says cone side run MC, and this one's also going to say cone run side run. Because what I did is I just flipped it to make the running in the other direction. But if you look in my library, basically I have, let me see, cone center run. Okay, I'll just open it up, and it's just an animation of him running like this. Okay. And so you can do whatever you want to make your animation of them running. Alright, so it's nothing too exciting there. And then the cone side run is this one. Alright, so it's just him running sideways. Alright, so what I did is I have the center one on the first frame. And then I have run left, which is what this one actually was. And then I made another keyframe. And all I did is I took the cone side run here, and I just flipped it and just put that there for the other direction. So you don't have to make 2 side run animations. Just make one, and then you know, make sure it's a symbol, and then just flip it for the other one. Okay. And now, so there are a couple things here that you might notice that are a little bit different. If you look real close, you can see I labeled these. So it says run center, run left, run right. You don't have to do that, but I'll just show you how you do it. So let's just say I make a new empty keyframe. What I can do is you select that frame, and you just go to properties, and it gives you the properties frame. Right here, you could just write, like, you know, like maybe I want him to get hit, so I'll have hit, and I'll have an animation of him getting hit. And you'll see that makes that labeled. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and remove that because I didn't do that in mine. But the reason why I did that, you don't have to do it at all. But you know how normally we write code, we'll say go to frame and play, or go to frame and stop. And then we put in the number inside the parentheses. So let's go to thing here. So go to frame and stop, right? So I'm just going to double click on it, select him, just so you get an idea. I don't want to do that yet. But it'll say go to frame and stop, and you say frame 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever the frame is that you want to go to. What I can do now is I can say go to frame and stop, and in the parentheses I can actually just put these label names instead, and it just makes it a little bit easier to understand. Or you could just write frame 1, you know, or just write 1, 2, and 3 for the frame numbers. I also put some action script here. This is just stop. So it's just, I went here and I did stop at this frame underneath action script. Okay. And all that's going to do is just going to make it so that it plays on here and doesn't play these. Because otherwise it'll just go like this. It'll just keep looping between these 3, and it'll be really weird. So now it'll stop here. And then I'll use code later on that when I'm moving to the left, I want you to run this, you know, this frame's code. And when I move to the right, use this frame's code. And then when I'm done moving, go back to center. Go back to playing the center animation. And that's all this is. Okay. And I think that is all of the elements. Let me double check. Yeah, so that's it. So you can go ahead and make your animations and do that stuff. In the next tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and make the actually make this work. We're going to add the action script and stuff.